My bride abandoned me on our wedding day after receiving an email from her ex, and now she's living with my parents while engaged to my broth. I, 25, male, was supposed to get married to Fran, 26, female, about 2 months ago. Fran, not her real name, was my girlfriend for 2 years. We met at a wedding and got together within a few weeks since we were quite similar. Fran and I had been in the relationship for 1 year, and then she moved into my apartment. Everything was going well. She proposed to me last year, and we were supposed to be married by now, but she ran away on the morning of our wedding day. It was the worst day of my life, and I didn't even find out where she was until a week later when she finally reached out to me and told me that she was back together with her ex. It was obviously heartbreaking for me to find out about it through a text, and I blocked her after I told her that she would be the one who had to pay off all the wedding expenses. She agreed and apologized to me for betraying me, but that really didn't mean anything to me. She threw away our relationship to be with her ex, and that's all that mattered to me. I didn't care about her apology or how bad she felt doing it. I was very depressed and had to go back to therapy to process my emotions because I was struggling on my own. That's how bad things were. I could barely even get out of bed on most days, and things were spiraling out of my control. Oh, it's been 2 months since then, and I'm finally doing a lot better now, or I was until Fran showed up again to try and get back with me. Some context about Fran and her ex, Henry, 26, male. They were together throughout high school and were even supposed to go to college together, but Fran got a better opportunity somewhere else, and she ended up going to a different college. They tried to make it work, but the long distance got to them, and they broke up in their second year because it was all getting too much for them to handle. She had been transparent with me about all her past relationships, and I really appreciated that. She told me that Henry was her only serious relationship before me, and everything else was just short-lived flings or hookups. That didn't matter. She and Henry had been together for almost 6 years before they broke up, and that was a long time. He was her high school sweetheart, so I did ask her once if she had moved on from him entirely, and she had told me that she had, and she knew that he had married someone else a few years after they graduated anyway, so it didn't matter. It wasn't exactly a perfect answer to my question, but it was satisfactory, so I didn't ask about it anymore. I knew that she and Henry were in the past, so I wasn't too worried. Besides, I had stalked Henry online, and he lived in a different state with his wife and 2 kids. So he wasn't exactly a threat to my relationship. She never brought up Henry, so I never thought that she still had feelings for him. There were no signs of her wanting to end our relationship and go back to Henry even in the days leading up to the wedding. She put up an Oscar-worthy performance. I have to give her that. Not even for a second did I think that she had any plans to run away and ghost me on the morning of the wedding. So it came as a huge shock to me when she didn't show up, and even her phone was switched off. On checking her room, we realized that all her belongings were gone and she was nowhere to be found. She and her maid of honor were missing from the wedding for hours. And after the first few hours, I realized that she was not coming back. So I could wait for as long as I wanted to, but there was no point. Towards the evening, her maid of honor finally showed up. But when I asked her about Fran, she informed me that the wedding was off. She told me that she wasn't allowed to reveal where Fran was, but she wanted me to know that she was sorry that it had to end this way. However, she had no choice. Her family was really apologetic, but mine wasn't that supportive. They didn't say anything to me on the day of the wedding because I was inconsolable, but after that, my parents told me that I should have kept tabs on Fran to make sure she didn't get cold feet and run away like she did. They said that what happened at the wedding was extremely embarrassing for them, and they were deeply ashamed of this incident, as if this was somehow my fault. I didn't talk to them for the next few weeks because I thought that they were being insensitive. However, they did reach out to me and apologize after they found out the real reason why Fran left. I had told my brother about the message that Fran had sent about her getting back together with Henry, and he was the one who had told my parents. So when they found out about him, they realized that it wasn't my fault for not being conscious enough of Fran's feelings and apologized to me. My parents have always been very conscious of their image, and that's what matters to them the most, their reputation among their friends and how they are perceived by their peers. They are quite pretentious and put their reputation above everything else. And I think that's quite evident from whatever I just said about them. The only reason I have even kept in touch with them is because they're loaded and often help me out whenever I have money problems. Also, my brother practically worships the ground they walk on. So if I cut them off, he'll be mad at me, and I like him, so I don't want that. Anyway, Fran came back about a week ago and showed up at my house to surprise me. I had forgotten to get the locks changed after she left, so she still had a spare set of keys, which she used to get inside my house, and she waited for me there until I got back from work. It was creepy and psychotic of her to do that, but she said that she meant for it to be romantic. I was met with a very nasty shock when I came back from work, but it only got worse when Fran told me that she was here to apologize to me and get back together. Apparently, she had made a mistake by going back to Henry because he was a scammer. She told me that Henry had contacted her about a week before the wedding and sent her an email confessing his love for her and saying that he had to give it one last shot before she got married. He had gotten to know the news of her engagement and her wedding day from a couple of their friends from school, and he had even said that his original plan was to show up at the wedding itself. But he couldn't do that since he had 2 kids to take care of. He had mentioned that he was getting divorced from his wife, and this felt like a sign from the universe to finally own up to his feelings and go back to the one woman that he had ever truly loved. So that email was his way of confessing, and he gave her his address and phone number so she could contact him if she wanted to leave me. I know all of this because Fran forwarded the email to me to prove that she had been manipulated by him. However, once Fran got there, she realized that Henry wasn't getting divorced at all. And over the course of the next few weeks, she got to know that he had been lying about everything. She did some digging and found out that he and his wife were just broke, and he was probably planning to scam her because he kept asking her to help him by paying his divorce attorney. She said that she had come back here a couple of weeks ago, but was too ashamed to face me. She told me that it hadn't been an easy decision for her, but in the last week leading up to the day of our wedding, she realized that she still hadn't completely moved on from him since she was actually considering going back. And apparently, she didn't want me to suffer because of her incapability to forget her past. She told me that she wanted to tell me the truth, break things off like a decent person, and then go back to Henry. But she couldn't bring herself to do it because that would lead to a lot of fighting and drama and tears, and she just didn't want that. So to avoid that for herself, she just took off on the day of our wedding and abandoned me without a word. And she believed that this was a good explanation, and I would obviously understand and forgive her. She really didn't see it coming when, after hearing her out, I told her to get out of my house or I would call the cops on her. She actually had the audacity to be shocked when I told her that I wanted her to get out and that I never wanted to speak to her ever again. She tried to come close to me and calm me down, but I pushed her away and took out my phone to show her that I was serious about this threat. She had lost every right to speak to me or to even breathe the same air as me, and I just wanted her out. After some arguing, she told me that she would leave, but she knew that I was just mad because I had missed her and she would be back soon whenever I was ready to talk. It was ridiculous that she even expected me to entertain her BS, and it was infuriating to know that she believed I would take her back eventually. I didn't tell anybody about this for the next couple of days, but then my parents called me to talk to me about Fran, and they told me that Fran had approached them after her meeting with me didn't go as planned. My parents were obviously all for the idea of us getting back together because that meant we could finally get married, and they could save face among their peers. On the phone call, they told me that they could understand that I was very upset with Fran, but I needed to look at the bigger picture and take her back because it wasn't worth it to let go of such a beautiful relationship over a stupid mistake. They tried to defend Fran by saying that she was a woman and women are bound to make stupid mistakes, but as her boyfriend and future husband, I should forgive her and not let one mistake negate all the good things about our relationship. Besides, Henry was not even in the picture anymore. And if anything, her interaction with him made her realize how great she had it with me. So now was a better time than ever to get back together and get married to make sure that she doesn't ever even think of straying from this relationship. My father even brought up a couple of past affairs that my mother had and said that he had always forgiven her because apart from the occasional cheating, she was a really good wife. I could hardly even believe that he was saying that out loud and still didn't hear how insanely stupid he sounded. I told my parents that I was not taking her back and I was definitely not getting married to her, so they could save their breath because their sermons weren't going to make me change my mind. They tried to fight me on it and told me that it had been really difficult for them to face their friends after my wedding day. They had become the laughing stock of their social circle, but it would really shut everyone up if they concocted some story and made it seem like the wedding didn't happen because of some medical reason, like an accident or something that we didn't discuss that day, and it would make all their friends regret treating that incident like a joke. They said that Fran had learned her lesson and there was no need for me to continue punishing her because she had already been through enough, so I needed to be a little forgiving and take her back. They also wanted me to think about their image and go through with the wedding for their sake. I told them that they were acting crazy, and it was downright psychotic of them to even expect me to take back a cheater and even get married to her just so they can save face among their friends who don't even matter. They're all pretentious and awful rich people who live for drama and gossip, and I don't feel the need to put myself through so much just to win them over. But my parents flipped out and started accusing me of being selfish when I said that I wouldn't take Fran back or get married to her. They think that I should just suck it up and do it because it's really not a big deal and it'll be mature of me to handle this with grace by forgiving her and going through with the wedding. It was getting tiring after a while, so I finally decided to cut them off by blocking them because I couldn't deal with this anymore. And even that didn't work because they continued to text me and bother me with different phone numbers, trying to get me to do what they wanted me to do. I finally got really sick of it yesterday, and I did something bad. I was already really tired from a long day at work, and my parents were still blowing up my phone with texts, so I decided to take screenshots of those and logged into my father's Facebook account. I have known the password for a long time because my dad uses the same password for everything, and I got it on my first try. Then I typed out a huge paragraph about what they had been putting me through, and how they had been harassing me nonstop ever since Fran came back. I attached the screenshots as proof, and then I posted it and tagged all their so-called friends as a finishing touch. Then I took a nap and didn't wake up until midnight because my phone was on silent, and I didn't hear any notifications. When I finally woke up, I saw about 1,000 messages from my parents and several missed calls. All of them were about the post that I had made, and they were naturally extremely upset. They had taken it down within an hour of it being posted, but it didn't matter because loads of people had seen that post, and now they were all calling them out on social media, and it was just a complete mess for them. I already mentioned that most of the people that my parents were friends with lived for drama, and I had handed them exactly what they wanted. Yet another opportunity to speak badly of my parents on a silver platter. And so he was really going all out. I felt kinda guilty afterward because I could see that my parents were really upset and desperate. Many of my family members had also told me that they could understand that I was frustrated, but airing dirty laundry in public was never the solution to anything, and this just made matters worse. And now I don't know what to think because I feel like I might have taken things a bit too far. Update 1. Thanks for all the love on my post, you guys. It means the world to me, and I really needed to feel good about myself after the week that I've just been through. My parents suck. That's the bottom line. I had tried to stay in touch with them because they are old, and I need to be a good son, but all they care about is appearances and their reputation. They don't care about feelings or what's real, and there is really nothing in the world that is important enough for me to make me stay with them. My brother has cut me off after that post, and I feel kind of bad about it, but I did see this coming, and it's nothing unexpected. If he wants to worship them even though they're terrible human beings, he can continue to do so, but it's stupid to expect that I won't stand up against them just because he's devoted to them. It's sad, but hopefully, he'll be disillusioned soon enough. Maybe after something like this happens to him as well. I hope it doesn't, but it's for the best if it does, and he finally sees them for what they really are, shallow and pretentious jerks. Fran also hasn't tried to contact me after the post, so I think she has given up. But I won't be surprised if she pops up out of nowhere after the hue and cry about my post dies down. My parents tried to talk to me and get me to apologize publicly for a few days after I made that post, but when I told them that I would report them for cyber harassment. I honestly don't even know if that's a real thing, but I had to say something to get them off my back. They finally backed down. So it's been pretty silent since that post, and I really don't regret it anymore. Clearly, some good came out of it, and I was able to get rid of all the drama kings in my life. Hopefully, things will remain peaceful now, but these people are shameless, so they might come back for round 2. I just have to stay sharp and mentally prepare myself for that. Update 2. 6 days have passed since the last update, and I learned recently that Fran has actually moved in with my parents. I wish I could say I was surprised, but I'm not. They're disgusting, and this is exactly what I expected of them. I hate them with my life, and I wish I could do something to mess them up. But I just have to suck it up and let things be right now. I've done enough already, and I don't want more trouble. It was my neighbor who told me that Fran was living with my parents now. He and I grew up together, and he knew all about what was going on with me. We are not friends, but we do talk to each other from time to time and catch up occasionally. So he told me that when he saw Fran move in with my parents a couple of days ago, he felt that it was his moral duty to let me know because he had witnessed the post and the aftermath of it. And he had also been present at my wedding. He told me that he wished he could do something to help, but he had already done enough for me. I honestly don't know what to do right now because I really and truly am disgusted by the idea of Fran living with my parents as if she is a replacement for me or something equally demented. I really want to do something that will shake them, but I just don't know what. I could post about this again, but that wouldn't even lead anywhere just like the last time, and I don't want more drama. I just freaking hate whatever is happening right now. I feel sick to my stomach at any given moment, and I could really just barf thinking about all of them living under one roof and having a great time talking about me. I feel like crying, but even that isn't going to solve anything. I'm just so helpless right now. I have nobody to talk to about this because of how personal and embarrassing it is. It just hurts even more because I know that no matter what I do, I'll continue to feel this way, and it won't affect them in the slightest. Update 3. Hi. So Fran texted me from a burner account on Instagram today. It's been almost a week since I received the news that she had moved in with my parents from my neighbor. And today, she finally had the decency to text me and tell me about it. She said that she was really sorry to spring this on me, but she had nowhere to go, and she couldn't live in a hotel room forever because it was too expensive. So until she found a place of her own, she would have to live with my parents. They were apparently pretty happy to have her. Her own parents did not want to speak to her or have anything to do with her after the debacle at the wedding, and I had very clearly told her to get out when she came back to me. So our apartment was out of the question as well. The only people that she could approach were my parents. She had heard about the post that I had made from my father's account and knew that my parents were pressuring me to take her back. So she also knew that they liked her and would take her in readily. I could almost kick myself knowing that I had made this possible, and that post had really backfired badly. I told her that she could go to hell for all I cared, and if she was living with my parents, then she probably was already there. I wanted to leave it at that, but my anger got the better of me. And I ended up sending her a long text about how she was miserable and pathetic for going to her ex-fiancé's parents because she had no other place to go since. Nobody loves her anymore. I said a lot of other mean things, really tore her a new one, and got it all off my chest. I didn't want to speak to her ever again or hear from her, and I wanted to make sure that she got that message loud and clear. I guess the last time that I told her to get out of my house wasn't enough for her, and she wanted to mess with me even more, which is why she texted me and was acting all innocent and sweet as if I would buy it. Lucky for me, I can see through her act now, and I know exactly what sort of scum she is, so she isn't fooling anyone. Update 4. Hi, everybody. I know I have been missing for a really long time, but I was really caught up at work, new projects, and all that jazz, so I didn't have time to check Reddit. But now that I'm here, it's time for another short update. It has been almost 2 weeks since my last update, and not much has changed in terms of Fran and her living situation. She is still very much living with my parents, and they're making quite a big deal out of it. From what I know, they have been posting pictures with Fran and calling her their daughter, the daughter that they never had, to be more precise. They kept thanking a certain someone for bringing such a wonderful young woman into their lives. They have mentioned how it was a great deal for them because they got rid of the garbage and found gold in the form of Fran, their almost daughter. It would actually be pretty hilarious if it wasn't so annoying. I can't stand to hear about it and have told everyone to stop telling me about it because it really creeps me out. They are treating Fran like their own daughter and my replacement, and I don't know why, but it just gives me the creeps. There is definitely some mental illness there that I don't even want to get into. It's disgusting, and I don't want to talk about it anymore. But that's how my family is, and it's sad. I am related to them, so I have to hear about it from everyone, even people who aren't related to us like my parents' friends. Update 5. Hey, guys. It's been a long time, but I honestly just didn't have anything to share for a while. 6 months have passed now since the day of my wedding, which never took place. And every single day I thank God for not letting it happen. My parents and Fran are still living together. I know that's what most of you people would want to know in this update, but I really don't have a problem with that anymore. They deserve each other, and I couldn't be happier for them. Fran and my brother are actually getting married in a couple of months, and I received an invitation today, which is how I was reminded of that crazy period of my life from a couple of months ago. It was difficult, but I did go to therapy and tried my best to work things out for myself. Then I got a great job offer, but I had to move for it, so I readily agreed because there would be nothing better for me than a fresh start in a new city. For the past 2 months, I've been living my best life. I won't lie, it hasn't been easy, and I am still in therapy. We do virtual meetings now, but I have been moving on with my life instead of fixating on the past and wondering why my parents didn't love me and why my love wasn't enough for Fran to stay with me. The problem was them all along, not me. So it was pretty pointless for me to constantly worry about them and how they felt about me. I was great to those people, but they were ungrateful and just generally bad people, and that's why they never valued me. Even if I did something huge for them, they still wouldn't value me. So it was better for me to just let it all go. It all sounds like a bunch of philosophy mumbo jumbo, but it's really true. Letting go actually helps rather than holding on to your anger that does nothing except ruin you. I learned that the hard way, but whatever. Fran is my brother's problem now, and I wish him all the best for his new life. All of them really and truly deserve each other.